Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. You know who it is. I hope you're doing well. And it's time for our weekly track roundup, where I go over what I felt were the best and the worst tracks of the week. We do it every week, you know what it is. First, I have to mention the good people over at SeatGeek who are sponsoring this video. SeatGeek, if you didn't know, is an app that aggregates tickets to live events from all over the web to make ticket buying simple. They use a 1 to 100 score on each ticket to let you know if you're getting a good deal or a bad one. Green is good, red is bad. And their in-app view from Seat lets you see where you're going to be sitting. Enter code DROP to get $20 off your first order. Click on the link in the description below to download the app and get more information. All right, guys. Again, shout out to SeatGeek. All right, here we go. Weekly track roundup. Weekly track roundup. We're doing it. We're here. We're doing it. We have our Amazon associate link down there, as well as our Turntable Lab associate link. They have all sorts of cool, colorful pressings of records and turntable stuff down there. If you buy from them, we get kickback from it. Supports the show, supports the channel. And I want to give a shout out to my good boy, Frank Javc, who has a new EP out, which is linked down there below, along with all of the other songs that we are going to be talking about in this episode per usual. All right, worst tracks, guys, worst tracks. Yes, Sremmurd has a new track out featuring Pharrell. It's titled Chanel, and it is easily one of the most tedious tracks the duo has ever come out with. Maybe it'll grow on me once I hear this new triple disc record they're going to be coming out with this year, but I don't know. I doubt it. It's not one of their catchier tracks, and I just find it to be kind of repetitive and annoying. But hey, that's kind of the name of the game these days, so maybe the song will go platinum. Who the hell knows? Moving on from there, Calvin Harris and Dua Lipa, One Kiss. This song pretty much reminds me of exactly what I didn't care so much about when it comes to just really bad house pop from back in the day. I mean, it feels like a throwback, but a throwback that reminds you of all the reasons a certain sound and a certain trend died. And that's pretty much how I'd like to put that. Chuchesta has a new song out titled Coin Star, which is absolute trash. It's for some reason on most major music streaming platforms. I don't know how that's allowed, but it's garbage per usual, just like everything else Chuchesta does. This new A$AP Rocky song and single, A$AP Forever, featuring Moby, of all people. Yeah, every single song A$AP Rocky comes out with in this new album cycle has just been awful. Every kind of teaser track, every non-album track, this track, the flows are really boring. The flows are really boring. I had like a bit of a heart attack there. The song's giving me a heart issue, I think. The flows are really boring. Instrumental, bland. Seems a little bit more aggressive than most of the stuff that was on A$AP's last album, but dude just cannot get a hit together. Dude cannot get a hit together at this point. Yeah, it's really just a mess. It makes me sad. And let's move into the tracks that I thought were kind of meh. You know, not terrible, but not amazing. You know, but worth a nod. Worth a nod. You guys might dig them a little more than me. Frickin' Zeal and Ardor, which is kind of an obscure Bandcamp music project that made some waves a little while back for this weird combination of blues, black metal, and old slavery time work songs, crazy combination of sounds. It seems like a lot of those things are still kind of an influence on this newer track, although there's maybe more of a hard rock vibe going on with the guitars, not so much a black metal thing. The black metal themes seem mostly thrown out the window on this track, but excuse me, it's still a pretty compelling song, and makes me excited for the future of this project. It's definitely one of the weirder and more interesting band camps I've stumbled upon, and I don't know, I just kind of like hearing more coming out of this Zeal and Ardor thing. Moving on from there, the Get Up Kids are back. New song titled Maybe, and they have a new record on the way, lyric video out for this track. It's a pretty sweet, catchy poppy rock song with some punk elements, some emo elements, just like we typically expect from the Get Up Kids. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's not the greatest tune I've ever heard from the band, but hey, it's not really that bad, Moving on from there, Grouper has a new track out titled Driving, which is not quite as lo-fi and as, I guess, as opaque as the last track she dropped from this forthcoming project, but it's still a very nondescript, slow, very moody piano tune that doesn't really head in any, I don't know, in like a strong direction or anything, so... It's nice while it's on. It's a pleasant vibe, but it doesn't really conjure much else. And you could say that Grouper's previous music was very much about a vibe as well. But previously, when it's come to records like Dragging a Dead Deer or Alien Observer, there was at least like more attention paid to texture. And I can't say that's the case at all with like this newest material. The sound play, the texture just either doesn't really seem like it's there, like it's not even something she's attempting, or it's just super light and super just uninteresting. But moving on from there, new Beach House track over here, Dark Spring. While it is maybe one of the more faceless songs that we have heard from this new Beach House album cycle, still, this track is very much outside of the duo's wheelhouse. I mean, it is spacey and kind of dreamy, but the vocals are unlike that of any other Beach House song. The instrumental's kind of rough, a little distorted. So, I don't know, man. Beach House seemed to kind of be pulling out all the stops for this new record. I don't know what to make of all these singles. Can't make heads or tails of a lot of them. A few of them I thought were great, or, I mean, at least one of them I thought were great. One of them I thought was terrible. So I feel like I could really go any way on this record. All I know is that I'm excited because I'm just hearing something that I have not heard before from the band, and their traditional sound, their trademark sound, I think they've kind of painted themselves into a corner with it. I'm waiting for them to kind of break out of it, and it seems like they're really doing it with this newest material, and the results have been intriguing, to say the least. So... moving on from there, Azealia Banks, Anna Wintour. This is a new single from the singer, songwriter, rapper, which is not that bad. It's not a terrible single. It does start off terrible. Some people have been kind of advertising this track as a return to form, and in a way it is. She goes back to the hip house sound and style that she kind of made her name with on 212. That's definitely the case. However, like her singing and the lyrics for the whole first leg of the track, total trash. Just throw it out, delete it. Like some of the worst music she's ever made, period. But then once you get past that part and you get into the hook and she hits you with a rap verse, the beat really starts going and it sounds great. It sounds amazing. But damn, like the first leg of this track, some of the clunkiest, most overly flowery, fake deep lyrics I've ever heard ever. And the singing for the most part is like some of her worst. Like some of her worst singing is on this track. So I'm really torn on this song. Parts of it I think are amazing. Parts of it I love. Parts of it I just cannot stand. I'm just really like, I don't know, neutral on it in a way because there's elements of it that I think are great, think are terrible. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And moving on from there, this new track from Aminé, Campfire featuring Injury Reserve. Pretty low-key banger. If you like to See You Sweat, I think you'll like this track quite a bit too. It's not a bad song. I just wish there was like a little bit more to it. I just wish there was a Groggs verse on this thing, man, or at least a Groggs hook. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of incognito. He's like nowhere to be found on this track, and it's just like a little unfortunate because I think he could have brought so much personality to the cut. And let's move on to the tracks that kind of blew me away this week, or I thought were especially good. All right. Digging on this new track from Sabrina Claudio. Came out on the 2nd of April, or at least this lyric video for it came out. And God, this is some slow, sexy, wet, sensual, sweaty R&B. Just so quiet, so... it just hits me in those sexy feels. I just cannot... I can't describe the sexiness of this song enough. I don't know. There's some weird vocal kind of tricks that remind me a bit of FKA Twigs, but Sabrina is definitely in a lane of her own. though she is still, in a lot of ways, within that very moody alternative R&B style, that spacey R&B style we're very used to at the moment. But yeah, I think she's doing a lot of good things with it. And vocally, she's pretty interesting. Vocally, she's got some chops. She's not just like one of these nasally, airy singers with no personality. There's definitely like some tangible sensuality there that hits pretty hard. Moving on from there, Rich Brian, Watch Out. Total fucking banger, dude. And this music video is hilarious. But still, this is one of his better tracks. Some of the lyrics are kind of silly, but you can tell he's not taking it too serious. It's just kind of a hard-hitting, catchy track. And I love the synthesizers on this beat, though. Whip, 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 whip. Like, it's such a psychedelic kind of fricked up sound. I don't know. I just kind of love the sound of the instrumental. Love his deep, husky voice. His flow is good. And he's got a lot of, kind of low-key, monotone, deep, husky, chunky voice charisma. So, and I do think this is one of his better tracks. So, it's a pretty good song. Moving on from there, I'm digging on this new track over here from Gobbinjr. Kind of like this bedroom pop track titled Afraid of Me. It's a nice little ballad. It's pretty cute. It's got some quaint, fun, very endearing lead vocals and, some very low-key, lo-fi instrumentation. And the ballad at the core of it is so quaint and it's so lovable. So, that's really kind of what's attracting me to the song so much. The bedroom pop fans, get into it. And I see that this is connected with Top Shelf Records, so it's good that they're behind it. And is that the, no, we got a couple more. Oh, digging on this new Drake track, Nice for What? I thought the music video was like a little corny with all the celebrities in it, Given what Drake was rapping about in the song, it seemed like a lot of women he had in mind going through hardships. Like maybe he could have done something a little bit more ambitious or narrative-wise with the music video, but still, it's still a pretty catchy song. Like, it's got a nice, straightforward beat, it's got a good groove to it, and a very prominent Lauryn Hill sample that is executed pretty tastefully. And this song I actually find to be catchier than God's Plan. I find to be catchier than anything he's come out with recently, and it's actually one of his more substantive and emotional tracks he's dropped in a while, too. So, you kind of get the best of both worlds on this cut. It's not just catchy and dumbed down. It's got something to it. It's got some nice emotional, I guess, empathetic sentiments to it that I like quite a bit. And I think we have one more over here. This new Denzel Curry track, Sumo. Total friggin' banger. Banger alert. Woo, 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 woo. Banger alert. Woo, 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 woo. Denzel Curry goes frickin' crazy on this track. He goes Super Saiyan on this track. And I don't know if I could really say anything else about it. Other than that, he's just like, he's registering on the Richter scale with this song. On the Richter scale. No, but seriously, listen to it. It's fire. So, and I think one more, Daniel Rossen of Grizzly Bear fame. He has a new track out titled Deerslayer. And it's nice to see him releasing music under his own name as opposed to that whole Department of Eagles thing. I don't know exactly what has led to that decision, but the instrumental here is like really rough and distorted and rickety, but still kind of has that very nuanced, beautiful balladry to it that we expect from Daniel. I kind of like the lo-fi and very nasty kind of textures that are coming out of the song. It reminds me a little bit of Mount Erie in a way. And overall, it's a cool tune. Might be a little too abrasive for some people. Might be a little too abrasive for some Grizzly Bear fans. Might ward some listeners off aesthetically. But I do think he is doing some interesting things compositionally and vocally. And I'm going to leave it at that, guys. That has been the episode of the Weekly Track Roundup. Thank you so much for watching. It's like a little bit of a short episode of the Weekly Track Roundup, it seems, although I blew through a lot of tracks. But hopefully all episodes are this focused. Again, you're the best. And shout out again to SeatGeek, information down below, as well as our Amazon and Turntable Lab associate links. And I love you, love you, love you. See you in the next one. Forever.